So Paul, with the current financial climate, there's a bunch of things that our customers have to be really mindful of if they're going to use the right strategy. And you were saying off camera that it's time to revisit their sales process?
100%. The reason why, Alex, is your sales process should be guided and dovetailed into your client's buying process. Now, if you think what happens through a economic recession, people buy differently. And I mean, so first-hand experience here in terms of what happens in a recession, deals get stalled because there's not enough money around.
Yeah, they take longer.
They get longer because what you typically will find is that it's not just one person that makes a decision. So if you're selling products and services right now to corporations and you're used to selling just to one person and they make a decision, what you'll probably find is that it's now done by a committee. Okay, so you're actually pitching to different stakeholders into a company.
So the sales cycle extends. We found from the last
prolongs,
recession.
Yes, extends.
They tend to escalate it up. So there's an entire committee. There's a whole bunch of stakeholders.
Yep. Yeah. So and genuinely, what happens is there's more touch points along the way.
Yeah.
Because
so it's more complex.
It's more complex.
Yeah.
And we've got to give good reason for a company to buy our products and services. So we mentioned last time the use of and the need for consultative selling. So consultative selling is required in the middle of that process to really identify the true objectives but pain points within a company and then monetizing it like you mentioned before.
So if they're dealing with multiple stakeholders, which is very common in a recessionary climate, you were saying, and I do concur with that, I found the same thing, then they've got to make sure that those pain points they discover apply, that all of the stakeholders agree.
Some of the pain points might be slightly different for the different stakeholders. So it might be a slightly different positioning for the person in charge of finance, slightly different positioning for, the end user or the emotional buyer. So we've got to make sure that our messaging, our positioning, and therefore our questioning dovetails into appealing to the buyer.
Yeah, I really like that comment. Just to revise for the benefit of our viewers and to summarize, their buying process has probably changed. The buying process changed at the last recession. It's more extended, there's more stakeholders involved, they tend to escalate it up. So if we understand their buying process, that reinforces your message in this video, which is to revisit our sales process.
Yeah. The other thing that changes too is that sometimes the people we're selling to end up doing twice as many jobs because there's often a layoff in the company, and you'll find that the person we're selling to is doing the job of 2 to 3 people.
So they're maxed out.
Well, they're maxed out and they're busy. So, at the front end of the process, we need to be really clear that our strategic messaging, our positioning statements, and we're creating enough curiosity
cut through
to actually get to see the people in the first place.
So they're motivated to see us because of the way we position ourselves, because they're very busy people now.
That's right.
With a smaller resource.
Look, if you said, hey, look, let's catch up for a cup of coffee and have a chat, they're not going to be wanting to catch up for a coffee, so that's not going to be a strategy. So relationship selling is not going to work. So if you talk about, hey, can we come and talk to you about giving you a quote on XYZ product, that ain't going to work either because, it's not going to get their attention. The thing that's going to get their attention is talking about their problems and how potentially you've helped many other people in their positions mitigate those problems. So, when you're selling up into a company, it's the things that will get their attention is how can you help them save money, contain costs, or mitigate challenges that they might have in the future that they haven't even thought about, or make them more compliant.
There's a bunch of areas where we can help we can remove their headaches, we can remove their pet pains and frustrations, which is a whole lot better than just going out there and saying, hey, can we give you a quote?
Yeah. So we mentioned in an earlier video series, never waste a good recession. Why? Because when there's a problem, there's opportunity. So as the market contracts, we can grow market share. But you can only do that if we are helping our salespeople be more effective. So first thing, Start with your process. Map out your current buying journey of your typical client. That's the place I'd start. Look at what you need to do in terms of a milestone-centric sales process to take a new lead and advance it right through to making a sale.
Yeah. Now, Paul, would it be fair to say that those who are watching, who are already SalesStar customers, they can reach out to their coach to help them to map that out again and to update that?
It's time to review it. Like we've reviewed our own process internally. You know, we're a product of the product. And what worked 2 weeks ago won't necessarily work right now. So we're reviewing it and we're getting everyone on the same page. So, and it's important that our salespeople, your salespeople, are ready, because you know we need better questioning, we need better value propositions. We're going to get a lot more pushback than we ever have in the last 8 years. So we need to make sure that our salespeople are ready for that pushback. All those objections that they're going to be faced with, we need to make sure that we've got good strategies, good rebuttals on how to overcome that. And importantly, most importantly, is we need to help them with the positive mindset that they need, because they're going to get a lot of rejection. They're going to feel despondent, and you know some of them are going to struggle with a more strategic way of selling.
You know, it's funny, we were just talking to a bunch of people last night after the wee small hours. People wanted to stay and talk, and we faced the reality, and that is things are going to get challenging. We're not trying to hide from that.
No.
And I remember one of the people in our gang last night said, I love this recession because we gave him some solid strategy. He knows it's going to be a challenge. He knows he's going to hear no. But he's got some solid strategies that he is going to put to use as of today, in fact.
Yeah, and that is a good mindset, really. You know, it is what it is. We've just got to be ready for it. So you can help your salespeople be ready for that by mapping out your process, drilling down each phase of the process, getting them stronger at executing on the process, getting them stronger at getting in front of your target markets, getting them stronger at asking those consultative selling questions, getting them stronger at dealing with pushback, getting them stronger at presenting a business case, because they're going to need that business case. They're going to really have to demonstrate that value proposition. So train them on the process, coach them on the deal specific things they have. Like, so if they're bringing in deals, take that process and overlay it on that deal. So your job as a leader is really to coach your salespeople, get them unstuck, hold them accountable to this process, right? Holding them accountable to following the steps in the process, qualify, disqualify, and that was another lesson actually. Ruthlessly disqualify. And
Stop
the ones
wasting time.
Yeah, but the ones, you know, this might sound like counterintuitive, but the ones that do qualify and they're delaying their decisions, do you think you should disqualify them or qualify them?
Oh, I think that we need to focus our time on the winnable deals. And so that might mean disqualification ruthlessly, as we say. Let's put all of our energy into the deals that we can win. If we've got time wasters, you know, hearing a no from them is better than a maybe because we waste less time. Let's focus on the ones that we can win.
That was actually a good point you said. It's not the no's that kill you, it's the maybes. It's that middle land. Well, it bloats up your pipeline, it gives you hope, but it's often false hope. So we as leaders have to teach our salespeople how to disqualify ruthlessly and put the deals in there. You mentioned before, winnable deals. In other words, it's realistic deals that are forecasted to close, that are well qualified. So I guess a lot of viewers out there will be also thinking, you know, how can we train, how can we develop, how can we coach? Well, there's just simply no excuses not to do it. Just because you can't potentially travel when you're watching this video, you can't do a workshop, everything can be done remotely. You know, you can do screen to screen. There's really good technologies. We mentioned about the tech stack before, using Zoom. We have a whole bunch of coaching resources, a whole bunch of videos that can be played through Zoom that can really help empower you as a leader to develop, train and coach your team on a really powerful process. Now, if you can do that, if you can get your team engaged and make them stronger, make them recession ready, and you know, you will absolutely come out of this stronger and better before, because you will grow market share. Because if you're doing it, I bet you your competition aren't doing it.
Yep. And that's the opportunity.
Yeah, that is the opportunity.
Yep.
Is having your sales people who maybe were account managers before becoming BDMs and taking your unfair share of the market.
Viewers want to take it a step further and they think, well, what do I do next? What can they do?
Look, just there's several things you can do. Reach out to us, have a chat. We'll point you in the right direction. Join our community. It's free. There's other community members there that are just like you. They're going through the same things. Some of them have been through the same things. They can share their experience. We're not a lonely voice there. It's a community. We're all in this together. So join the community, get some timely information that you need, ask a question, provide some experience share. And look, we're going to get through this, people, and we're going to get through this together, stronger and better than we ever were. Anyway, we'll see you on the community.
We'll see you there.